So today's thesis statement, I guess, is be cool like your brother. That's a phrase I'll probably never forget. Um, my older stepbrother is a completely different personality than me. Especially growing up, I was a lot more, I'm a lot more hyperactive, a lot more extroverted, just up and about. And he's 6 years older. And I'm sure it was, what they say there, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I'm sure it was well-meaning thing to say, in the sense that I was hyperactive and I should probably chill out. But then you're saying, like, be cool like your brother, and because my stepbrother was very chill for a number of reasons, and at its worst, it's almost an intentional quantifier saying be cool like your brother. So basically, it's saying that I'm not cool, and or in the most innocent way, it's just a person not knowing what to say, and that's on a parental level. That's what comes up, and clearly it's. I mean, for something to stay with anybody for that long, I mean, it's almost like a narrative thread line for decision making in terms of how one regards oneself, especially when other people's input come in. And I see the internet talking about oh, do you, or don't let anybody change your extinguish your light, or don't listen to the naysayers, and all this. It's always a positive spin, but it's always bouncing back and forth between either reconciling who to listen to and should you listen to them and all this kind of stuff, and then the other side is don't listen to anybody, and et cetera, et cetera. But each person's personality, when exhibiting that stuff, that's going to result in a different way. There's certain people that should not be them. There's certain people that should not do them. There's certain people that you say do you, and they'll start killing animals for no explicable reason other than just to watch it happen. They should not be them. They should stop that shit. And then there's other people that let them do what they want. But everybody wants to have a value, some kind of moral or ethics or policy position on somebody else. And, you have the parent thing, but you also have friend thing, and you have family thing. And everybody's relating to you in a particular way as I'm, relating to me as I'm relating to others. I mean, when I say you, I'm meaning, of course, not exclusively, but inclusive. And it fascinates me how a single phrase can kind of stay with a person and dictate a lot of their how they apprehend the world. Another phrase many years later, probably like senior, around junior, senior year of high school, maybe even sophomore. I'll never forget this. It's an English teacher of mine who I'm, in touch with on social media, and she said, yo, you're like a great big Saint Bernard. You mean well, but you're just wrecking the joint. And I'll never forget that. And I remember when I spoke to her many, many years after high school graduation about that, and she was fairly horrified, or seemed kind of horrified at the fact that A, that she would say such a thing because she didn't really remember that, B, that I would remember that, and C, I think it inspired her to really reassess, as far as an educator is concerned, how can we be mindful about the things that we say to other people, whether they're children, whether they're your own children, somebody else's kids. But we all get normalized from our own positions, right? And then we impose those positions on others, not even thinking that there's an imposition, not even thinking like maybe they're just different. Because the only reason anybody would think that they're off is because somebody else told them they're off. I watch these commercials, and then how they handle it. They're like, fine, I'm off. I'm an individual. Blah blah blah. Or, oh my God, I'm off. I need to conform. I mean, it's one or the other, some kind of range in between, or sliding back and forth scale. But I remember there was a commercial recently, and some girl is the actor portraying in the commercial, and she says something like, I'm always an individual, or something. I've always been unique. I've always been an individual, no matter what anybody says. I'm like, man, you're an individual because you say so, because you think so. You're just not looking at the similarities. You're not looking at 2 eyes, 2 ears, a mouth, a nose, arms, legs. What else you got in freaking common with everybody else? You want to get a little commonality? And yeah, we're all individuals. Everybody's unique in their own thing. So when people say, oh, people are this or people are that, or some kind of generality, it's are you separating yourself from the generality? Is it an inclusive? Is it exclusive? So when you're saying to me, be cool like my brother, hey, be cool like your brother. Be X like so-and-so. So now I got to interpret so-and-so. How the hell are they doing it? I mean, it could be a personality thing. It could be a depression thing. Maybe it's just mistaken. Maybe he was depressed and everybody saw that he was mellow and it was just, hey, that's cool. Or maybe it was his outwardly disposition. Or maybe it was his nonchalant behavior. Sometimes people are completely apathetic and it just comes off and other people interpret it that way. Right? I mean, one person's behavior is going to be interpreted vastly different by a number of people. So that was interpreted by me as far as setting up that seed for all that's to come, as far as A, what my behavior is, B, what cool is, aka my brother or my stepbrother, B, that I should be more like him, therefore I am not like him. And clearly I'm not like him. There's no blood relation or anything of that sort. But it's such a misguided sentiment to make. On just simple ignorance, to be able to say that, let alone to, just anybody. Why? Let alone to a 9, 10-year-old, whatever kid. Why make those qualifiers? I'm assuming it's mindless. The benefit of the doubt. Here's the thing: the most innocent aspect of it is that it's just a mindless thing to say. But at the same time, I've said plenty of mindless things, and I know it later on. I'm reflecting upon it. I'm going, well, that was mindless. Hopefully I get to make amends. I don't know. Sometimes, no. Most times, maybe, depending on how long it took for me to realize this. But to qualify anybody in the face of anybody else, I mean, we barely can compare our right side to our left side. What business do we have comparing ourselves to anybody else? And yet people do. Whether it's to make themselves feel better, whether it's to make themselves have a lack, whether it's to tell somebody something and then they feel better about themselves or they feel a lack in juxtaposition to other people. Or maybe even in comparison to their former self or some kind of future potential. I mean, it's all however anybody wants to believe it anyway. So I guess I got to go be cool like my brother. I don't know if I ever became cool like my brother. I don't even know if I'm cool. I just have this particular disposition, and there it is. That's all there is to it. And somebody else calling it whatever you want to call it. Call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. It is what it is, right? No, Captain Obvious. I mean, thank God it is what it is, because if it isn't what it is, and it isn't what it was, or was what it isn't, you'd all be in big trouble. Just whatever. Everybody's got a personality. Does it change? Yeah. It actually does. You can fake it, you can make it, you can mimic another person. I tried to mimic my brothers. It doesn't work. Because mimicking comes from the outside in. So you're having a behavior without the attitude. The attitude expresses the behavior. Internally, it comes out. To reverse engineer it, man, maybe I just didn't have the talent for it. But you are the coolest, brother. Thanks for listening.